Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 21st of November. We are a week out from Thanksgiving. Azurite Sea is almost a week old at this point, and it's still performing very, very well. So I would venture to say this is one of the best sets in terms of just well-rounded value, playability, collectability, everything as it relates to the set appears to be doing very, very well. And I'm curious what we can attribute that to. I think there's a lot of things at play there. But before we get into Azurite Sea and expected value and look at some of the cards that are popping off right now, we did get confirmation that the 2 starter decks and 6 first chapter booster pack product is real at Target. It is in their Black Friday ad display. And so it is confirmed. There were rumors that this was fake, that infographic was made up, the product wasn't real, etc., etc. It is confirmed that it is real and it will be at your local Target. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, guys, it's going to depend on when your Target stocks their trading cards because it comes from a third-party vendor. And so this vendor is going to come in, they're going to set up the display. They're going to set out the product. When does that happen? I don't know. We obviously got some reporting that the 25th is going to be when it's going to be out. But I think that that's going to vary from different from store to store depending on when your third party vendor comes. I don't think all Targets get stocked on the same day, and so there's probably going to be some variance. Now maybe they're going to build it and put it in the back, and the store members are going to bring it out. I don't really know how that's going to work. But if you're interested in getting the first chapter product, I would keep your eyes out for it. It's $39.99, and obviously this product is worth significantly more than that. Probably double the price, just straight up, with the starter decks and the packs included. So it's going to be a lot of value in there. Great way for people to open some first chapter product that are still looking for it. I've had a lot of you from Europe reach out and ask if it's going to be over there. I have not seen any details around it. It seems like there's some different go-to-market strategies around like these different countries. So like obviously the global expansions, like Japan, like they're getting their first chapter in January, and then every 2 months they're going to get a new set from there. Europe, obviously they've been on the same release cycle as we have here in North America, but some differences would be that like over in Europe, I know Floodborne is readily available, or at least it has been readily available for like $100 a box. Here, that product has been over MSRP for the last couple months, and so it seems like there's some quantity or distribution differences between the two continents. And then this would be another one where it would appear we're going to get the first chapter, but I've not heard of this product being released in Europe. That's not to say that it's not going to happen, guys. I just haven't seen anything about it, and so as of right now, it looks like this is going to be a Target exclusive here in the United States for Black Friday. But you guys get the Moana movie premiere promo. It seems like the United States is like, I mean, even Japan's getting that, and I know Europe's getting it. That's like the main release. They haven't announced it in the United States yet, and God, I'm so jealous. That just like in terms of, and I've talked about like the nostalgia and everything of like the old Pokemon and the Pokemon movie and everything when we were kids, I'm sharing this experience with my family, right? We're opening the packs. I've told you guys about my daughter's first binder, the Stitch card from the collector set with the enchanted foil. Like, there's so much like awesome stuff that's just bringing our family together. Like, I want to go see Moana 2 and have my daughter get that card. Like, I just feel like that would be a pivotal like core memory. She's 6. She'll be able to like put it in her binder, hold on to it. Like, I don't know. Look, it's just me living through her going back to the Pokemon movie and the nostalgia around that. I get it, but damn it, I wish we had that Moana movie premiere card. So shout out to Europe for getting that. So that was an unplanned tangent there, but yeah. So unfortunately for the first chapter product, it does look like it's going to be only for Target, but it is confirmed. It's in their ad, and it will be out there. So good luck to everybody who is going to try and get that. Going to be a hot commodity, no doubt about it. Okay, moving on, guys. I wanted to, anytime the Ravensburger co-founder Ryan Miller or Steve Warner do an interview, I always read through it just to kind of get some thoughts and updates on where they're at with everything. And while this particular interview, it's on Gamerant, I'll put it in the description of the video. It is primarily around just the development of the game and how to play the game and the mechanics and kind of just the thought process around it. And so a lot of it doesn't necessarily apply to like the collector side of things or anything like that. But there was one question that I just felt like it was a good insight to their mindset, the time frames they're looking at, how they're going about producing new sets, and I think it's good to point out. So let's see here. I think I scrolled down a little bit too far. Okay, yeah. So it says the question was: you mentioned how this is much harder to design than a board game. What do you feel is the most challenging thing about developing Disney Lorcana? It is more challenging to design, but it's also more challenging to produce and market. I guess I'd say complicated rather than challenging, but that's a type of challenge, I suppose. I think, especially before we launched, we had to make a lot of assumptions about how fun the game would be and how it would connect in a Disney way, which was difficult. I think the challenge for us is really making sure we're putting out great things every quarter that connect the story, connect with the audience, and all the different ways of audiences that all the different types of audiences that we have. I mentioned two broad audiences, and they can be broken down in many different ways. That's another difference. With a board game, you make it, you launch it, and it's out. You still market it and you still work on it, but we have something new every single quarter. 204 new cards every single quarter. We want to make sure that each of those launches is super exciting and super high quality, and that they continue to build on this wonderful game that we've made. To me, it's a marathon of marathons. We're thinking long term, not just 3 years down the road. We're planning for 30 years. I've never seen a company invest in a game the way Ravensburger has. They were willing to commit time and resources well before we even launched, which is amazing. So to me, it's that we have to be thinking zoomed out, thinking long term, but also every set has to be its best. I believe very firmly that we owe it to our fans and our players to give them the best experience we can and give them the time and resources that we have, because they are the ones spending their time and their resources on our game. We owe a great experience to them, and that's the challenge. Making sure that we are zoomed in enough for every single launch is great, but zoomed out enough that we have that long-term plan. So it's going to get better and better. We're going to get more people playing, and that's the challenge. That is the true test of endurance right there. He goes on to mention that there's a lot of different ways to interact with Lorcana. Obviously, you can play the game, you can also collect the game, and he kind of goes into detail. And so I just think it's cool to see them continue to distinguish between the two. Right now, obviously, they are making steps towards increasing the collectability in terms of the D23 2024 collector set. Obviously, they released the initial collector set. They have the rarity tiers. They added the like texture glossiness to the legendaries, etc. So they're going down that path. But I just, as a collector in a game that is primarily player first, it's good to hear them continue to adapt to that, and I think it's just good to hear their strategy and their thought process as they're looking at this. I mean, look, I can't imagine like every quarter building out the game, adding new mechanics, adding new IPs, new art, new characters, new songs, like all these, like, I don't know, every 3 months, like that's an insane pace to me. And like as a consumer, I was a little overwhelmed at first, but I do enjoy it. By the time that 3 months comes, like we're ready for a new set, and so I think that pace is fine. But when I think about it from the production side, that is like daunting. Like I don't know, that just seems like so many damn cards and just the interactions and thinking through just everything from here's our concept, it's Azurite Sea, and then let's make 204 cards, all these different arts. We've got to commission all the artists and do all this. Like I don't know, that just it seems extremely overwhelming from the outside looking in. So shout out to them. They've delivered an amazing product thus far. The fact that we're 14 months in and they're already delivering at this high of a level, I think it speaks volumes to what they're capable of. It's great to hear that they're thinking long term, but they're focused on each set telling a story and being good. I think that's something that Disney can do better than anyone else. And Ravensburger, producing this Disney game, thinking about 30-year timeline. That's good to hear. So overall, I think it was good. Obviously we have to see actions and continue to see them deliver. But it's just nice to hear kind of what they're thinking of. And kind of the thought process they're bringing to it. Also, very good to hear that Ravensburger is, and Ravensburger, for those of you that aren't familiar, they are the kind of the pinnacle of the toy and game side of things. So if you go into your board game closet and look in there, you're probably going to see half of the games are have the Ravensburger logo on them, and that's because they've been around for over 100 years, and they are one of the founding I don't know about founding, but pioneers of the toy and game, like think board game industry. And so they've got a lot of experience. They've got a lot of production behind them. Obviously, have a lot of money and things like that to kind of attribute to this game or designate to this game. And I think it's shown here. And Ryan kind of talks about how they're willing to commit time and resources well before we even launch, which is amazing. And once again, I think that that is a credit to them. And another thing that I think goes un, it's not talked about that much, and I don't know how much it truly moves the needle. But something interesting about Ravensburger is since they have that track record of a long company history, and they've been producing these games and everything for so long, they have their own printing facility. They have their own products. Like a lot of like Pokemon owns Millennium Print Group, which prints all of their cards. I think they print Crypto Zoo. Obviously, they don't produce Magic. That's Wizards of the Coast. But a lot of other trading card games use Millennium Print Group. And Ravensburger is one that actually, I mean, they produce their own cards and house their own cards. I think Magic. Is Magic owned by like Wizards now? I feel like it is. But that's just something cool for Lorcana that they from inception to go to market strategy, etc. Production is all done in house. Which that's just the less the less hands in the pot in terms of like different companies touching the project, probably better. And so it's all housed under one umbrella, which is really cool. So switching over to Azurite Sea and just kind of the pricing side of things, the market side of things, Azurite Sea is remaining incredibly consistent, guys. This is a set that has enchantments that are holding their value very well. It is a set that has legendaries that are holding their value very well. It's a set that has super rares and rares that are holding their value very rare. Cold foil prices are continuing to rise and go up. Overall listings are continuing to come down. And so I think that, in terms of those of us who pre-ordered, we got our boxes, cases, packs, whatever, and opened and are looking to sell some of this, I think we were rewarded. Expected value for this box has remained consistent for the last 3 days. It is still over $130 in terms of expected value, and that once again speaks to just the playability of the set, the collectability of the set, everyone just interacting with this, and it could be in combination as well with, obviously we saw a lot of sentiment and feedback of people who don't love this enchanted style, and we're going to skip the set for like a Surging Sparks on the Pokemon side of things or the Prismatic Evolutions or whatever. And they were going to go that route rather than open the Lorcana side of things for Azurite Sea. And I think that maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe a decrease in demand for the pre-orders. At the end of the day, the set is going to come down in value. Floodborn is still around $100. Inklands is still around $100. Shimmering Skies is around like 75. Ursa's Return is around like 70. So I mean, look, this set is going to come down as more people open product, as we get into what was I going to say there? Retail release, sorry. As we get into retail release, more product's going to be open. The supply is going to increase. Unless there's been some huge increase in demand that I'm not accounting for. I'm not really sure. I don't think there has been. And so that's why I think the box price is going to be coming down. But for those of us who opened last week and are selling, or are opening now and selling, you're being rewarded just by the fact that this set is being very well received by the market in terms of people buying singles and opening packs, etc. And that's leading to escalated prices. Now, with that being said, to take a step back, these prices are going to come down, right? And so as we get into retail release on Monday, more people opening packs, box prices are going to continue to drop, cards are going to become more readily available, and these prices are going to come down. So if you have time to wait, as always, I would exercise caution in terms of going out and buying maybe enchanted you want to collect, or buying play sets of cards that you want. These prices in most instances are going to come down, except for some of the staples that are going to be in the meta. Those will probably continue to rise until they like stable off a little bit. But for the most part, the 90-ish% of cards will probably be coming down over the coming weeks and months. The select few like meta defining cards will continue to go up. And so if you have a beat on those, go out and get them. If you don't, and if you're not sure what you want yet, I would recommend waiting a little bit and buying your singles then. Now it still remains a great time for the next 4 to 5 days, and we'll see how long this trend lasts. But as of right now, it's a great time to open product because, as you guys know on this channel, We always want to open boxes. We can get them cheaper than the expected value in hopes to pull an enchanted, add to our collection, and then sell some of the singles to the players who are attending these different tournaments, weekly organized plays, set champs, etc. Which, quick caveat, someone called me out for like not being a player but talking about not needing a reprint. I own like play sets of the majority of all cards and have also played in multiple set champs. I have a young family, so I can't travel, but you can hate on me for only playing in set champs, but that's where I'm at. And so sorry if you dislike me for that. Sorry that I can't travel to DLC events right now. But getting back to the market side of things, I think that if you can wait, you're going to be in a good spot to get these cards. And if you can get your hands on a booster box like today that's at a fair price, I think it makes sense to open it, because once again, you pull a couple Shark Mauis or some of these rares or super rares that are doing well. Pull an enchanted, you get to pocket that, sell off some of the playable cards, and you're in a really, really good spot, which is what we love to see. So let's filter down to the playable cards, right? Talk about some prices and some cards that are doing really well there. A quick non-Azurite Sea related card that is seeing a lot of movement that I want to at least make you guys aware of is the Donald Duck Pie Slinger. Let's go and refresh this really quick. So it looks like $81 is the lowest on the market. And you can see down back in late October, early November, this card was selling for mid 60s. Had a sale at 65 just a few weeks ago. Had one sale at 103, which it's always weird to see sales like that. Maybe it's just an LGS they wanted to support, or maybe it's a fake sale. I don't know. Probably fake, to be honest. That's a major outlier. But you can see that the price is trending up over $80, and there's not that many on the market. So there is a total of 6 listings. A couple of them have 2, but it looks like in total there's maybe 8 Donald Duck Enchanteds on the entire market. And so that's going to continue to drive the card up, especially if it sees an increase in playability, which it would look like it's going to. There's some sort of meta that's trending towards this card. It's going to continue to go up. So if this is a card you have in your collection that you don't love as much as some of your other cards, and you're eyeing some other cards from a pure just like timing standpoint, as this card continues to rise, if it gets to a point where you're willing to sell it, I think it might make sense. Once again, there's only 6 listings on the market, so just something to make you guys aware of as we kind of see some sort of supply crunch here. It's shimmering skies, so we're not going to see some massive influx like we are with the Azurite Sea Enchanteds as we get to retail release, and as TCG player sellers start to ship their sealed products, right? Because reminder, if you bought on TCG player, they're not going to ship it, or they might ship it before, but in theory you shouldn't get it until Monday the 25th. And so just keep that in mind as you're looking for these boxes, and as we're thinking about timing and things like that. Gonna make a lot of sense post Monday for that. Okay, getting into some of the individual cards for Azurite Sea. The Maui Shark has continued to be the most valuable card. You can see it now slipping a little bit under 30, but the sell-through rate on this card has remained insane. 437, 143, 204. Just an insane amount of these individual cards being sold. And then when you look at the cold foil version, which has continued to rise, we're at $46 for a cold foil Shark Maui. Lots of sales, 35, 55, 45. So a lot of people are kind of calling their shot that this is going to be a meta card. We have that tournament going on, the NA versus EU tournament hosted by Pixelborn, and that the Shark Maui is getting some play in that, and so would not be surprised if we get to quarterfinals here and we see some red blue decks, or whatever Ruby decks are utilizing this card, could see some additional increases in prices and this card continuing to dry up. Now I do, if you want to cold excuse me, if you have time, I would say wait on this card, because once again, we're at a low supply right now. There's only 40 listings on the market. That number is going to go up when you look at some of the first chapter cards, Floodborn cards, etc., legendaries that are playable and popular. They're at well over 40 listings, and so we're going to continue to see that number rise. But just a heads up that it is still remaining in first place. Simba is doing very well as well, $20 in terms of lowest listing. Now this one has 146 available, right? So this is one that I pointed out. We're probably going to continue to see the price decrease. I remain steadfast in that thought. But one thing that is holding well is the cold foil, sitting at $31. So still getting a decent premium for the cold foil version of that card, which is nice. But once again, when you see these high listings counts, 146, if you're looking to play Simba, I think if you're going to be if you can wait a couple weeks to get your hands on the cards, I think you're going to be rewarded by maybe a $15 legendary than a 20. And if that makes sense, then I would advise waiting. A few other cards, guys, and then we'll get out of here. This has been a long video. Genie Wish Fulfilled, the rare that we've talked about several times, continue this insane trajectory of sell-through rate. The lowest on the market is a $12 rare. Keep in mind, guys, that Maui is currently $9 from the first chapter. One of the best cards in the entire game is currently at $9, and Azurite Sea rare is sitting at $13. $8 low list plus $4.99 shipping. $13 for a general copy. That's with 11 other listings on the market. There is an insane supply crunch here. There are going to be more of these, guys. It's a rare, right? So keep in mind that there's a lot of these out there. We get the cold foil version, you are up at $22. So it's starting to creep on. Not quite at Simba. Simba's at $30 for a cold foil, but a cold foil rare is starting to really creep up, and there's only 3 available on the entire TCG market. So this is one that the player base is saying, hey, we want it. We want some more of it. We want your shiny ones. We want everything. So Genie Wish Fulfilled. This is like these cards are where a lot of that expected value comes from. If you're able to open a box and pull one cold foil Genie Wish Fulfilled, that's essentially 20% of the box price right there, right? And if you're not playing Amethyst, then just might make sense to sell it and recoup some of that investment. That helps you kind of hold on to those enchanters that you pull. Another one that makes a ton of sense, that are not a ton of sense, but that it's just going crazy, is this Calhoun card. Near mint, lowest on the market is $6.18. Once again, it dropped off and it's starting to shoot right back up. Tons of sell through. $8.49, $2.88, and then some pre-sale numbers there. 527s. I mean, we're talking like 1,500 copies of the card is sold. Look at cold foil. You're staring at $14 for lowest on the market. You've got a couple listings there. Kind of goes up to 15. Not a ton, right? In terms of cold foil, 17 listings on the market. And so this is another card that's in the rare variety that continues to trend in the right direction and looks like it's going to be heavily meta defining. Last card we'll talk about here is the super rare Lilo Escape Artist. This is a card that's sitting around $8.40 on the super rare side of things. And you can see once again sell through rate 387, 749, 284. Continues to sell at a very high rate. And then we switch over to the cold foil version of this card. You're staring at a $16 minimum. Essentially, especially if you're looking for verify, I guess it's right in line. Trader's Kingdom, hey, Kingdom, and Smoke Squad Collective, both that are sitting around, $16 essentially for this card. So that's where a lot of your value is going to be made up, guys. If you open these boxes and look to sell some of the singles, you're going to be in a very good spot. Expected value for this box is still over $130, and that is assuming, once again, a 1 in 96 enchanted pull rate, and it only brings in cards that are 35 cents or higher in value. And so if you were to pull every card in and look through every card, your expected value is probably much higher than 130. A lot of people aren't listing bulk and selling bulk, so I think that's where the 35-cent threshold makes sense to kind of cut it off. But at the end of the day, Azurite Sea continues to perform very well and is shaping up to be one of the best sets that they've ever released, despite a lot of the negative sentiment we've heard and a lot of people sitting lists set out. It would appear that this is absolutely one of the better sets, and we're typically not a week in and not seeing much movement in terms of expected value. There was obviously a drop off day 1, day 2, day 3, but it is completely leveled out from there, and that is one of the first times we are seeing that. So we'll see how quick the drop off begins to accelerate again once retail releases and we see a supply increase. Obviously, I remain steadfast that you should wait to buy if you can, because prices are going to come down for about 90 to 95% of the cards. But some of these cards like Genie or Shark Maui, even Oswald, might continue to see the supply dry up as we continue to progress through. Genie's down to 10 listings now. Every time we look at the card, another one sells. So you're staring at 10 listings for the Genie. Yeah, $13, still the cheapest on the market. So shout out to Ravensburger for releasing an absolute banger of a set, performing very well, giving us collectors an opportunity to open some packs, sell off some singles, and be in a good spot. So don't forget about the Donald Duck Enchanted. It's doing very well. Keep your eyes on that if you have one and you're in the market to sell. In addition, don't forget about the Black Friday product coming to Target. Find a scalper near you. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back with another video soon. Bye.